So the first thing I've done is printed out my image on this clear sticker paper, which I will have linked down below. I prefer the sticker paper when I'm working with a flat surface because it's a lot quicker and you don't have to seal it and you can just kind of jump right into your project. So I'm just going to cut all of these tiny little pieces out. If you wanted to slice it all up in Design Space or Silhouette Studio and create like a full water slide wrap, you could easily do that and then you could just use that every time. However, I thought that was a lot of slicing to do and I decided to just cut it all out by hand. And this image that I used came from a coloring book page. I've linked that down below as well. I've found a lot of great images for these types of cups on Creative Fabrica. I have a subscription and download so much from there, and that is also going to be linked down below. So I have my 12-ounce cup. It's already painted and glittered with unicorn dust from Diamonds and Dust, which will be linked directly down below. And I've got all of my pieces cut out. So I'm going to go ahead and place my biggest pieces first and then fill in the empty spaces with my little pieces, however I want them. And when I put on the big ones, you'll see I always start in the middle and smooth them out down the sides to avoid getting air bubbles. And this one I placed up a little bit too high at first, so luckily these are pretty easy to take off when they're down, so you can reposition them fairly easily. And let's not hate on my really ghetto foam holder. I do not have a fancy one. This was just what I taped together so that my tumbler didn't roll off the screen while you guys were trying to watch me. So just continue laying your stickers until your cup is completely full and everything is placed where you like it. So now we're ready to put our first layer of epoxy over top of the decals. And I'm using KS Resin's Liquidy Split for this step and Diamonds and Dust Luster Dust in Pure, which is probably my favorite thing ever. And I use it on almost every cup I've been doing since I have found it. I mixed up 15 milliliters of epoxy for this layer, and I had a little bit left over still, so you would probably be safe mixing up 10 milliliters for this step. Once I'm done getting my epoxy on there, I just go through and sprinkle some glitter in the empty spaces. I actually didn't have the glitter that I wanted to use for this, so I used just a red and green mix that I had from years ago, and I looked to see if it was still available, and it's not. So you can really use whatever accent glitter you want here. So I'm just going through and picking off any little pieces of stray glitter that ended up getting over top of my images that I didn't want. And they're just very easy to just pick off, and I am super particular and OCD about this step. So if you don't care where your glitter is, you can just fast forward through this part. So now that I have all of those picked off, I'm going to go in with my paint markers. And I am using the Arteza fine-tipped acrylic paint markers. And they are my favorite brand to use. I've tried several different ones, including some cheaper ones from Amazon, and ended up loving these. So I'm just kind of picking random spots that I want to add just a little pop of color to make it a little bit more fun. And I did this based on what I did on my first cup. I don't think I did them exactly the same on this one, but I tried, and they don't all have to be exactly the same anyways. So whatever spots you want to color, just add a little bit of color in there. And these do take several minutes to dry. So as you're doing it, just make sure you're not touching where you just colored and smearing your paint everywhere, and move on to the next color. I'm going to move really quick through the rest of the coloring that I did. I just wanted to add, I did not seal this after I colored it before I put epoxy on. There's no sealing on there. I just went straight in with epoxy. If you want to seal it, knock yourself out, but it's not a necessary step for this. So once that paint was dry, I went in with another layer of epoxy, and here I am cleaning off my rim and getting that nice stainless edge on it. If you've watched my other videos, you've seen me use a Dremel for this part, which I do prefer. However, it was freezing outside when I made this, so I opted to stay warm and use my sanding block instead this time. And once that's nice and sanded and washed, I'm going to put another layer of epoxy on it, and we will be finished with this one. I loved how this one turned out, and I have so many ideas. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you want to see more.